The NBA All-Star Weekend has ended. This weekend was special for many reasons. LeBron returns to Cleveland, the NBA's 75th anniversary team was honored, the dunk contest sucked but the game was fun. But let's concentrate on that NBA 75th anniversary team, where the top 75 players in the history of this league were announced and honored. Back in 1996, when 50 players were announced, there was a debate on who should have made the list and who should have been left out. This time it's no different. Even though the list got extended to 75 players, it still feels that it's missing some of the all-time great players and instead has some players that maybe shouldn't have been there. Obviously, all of the players on this list have had their success and nobody of them has been a bum during their career. But in such a small pool of players, you want to nitpick. I mean, 75 seems like a big number, yet considering the number of players who have played in the league, it's just a small fraction. Obviously, you can't just throw players who are already there off the list, so instead of bringing in new players into the list, I'll just tell you the worst player by each position on the 75th anniversary list. The intro was way too long, but hey guys, hope you're doing well. Purple Prince here and let's start. Before my picks, I just want to tell you that this is my opinion, and if you disagree, you can definitely write that down in the comment section. Also, since there are technically 5 positions in the NBA but only 3 categories, centers, forwards, and guards on the list, I'll give you my worst center, worst forward, and worst guard. Okay, let's start. Let's start with the big guys, and my worst center on this list is Bill Walton. Strictly by stats, from 15 centers on this list, Bill Walton has the least points, is the second worst in all-time rebounds, and third worst in all-time assists. Pick whichever center you want and I can tell you why Bill Walton was worse. Bill Walton won the MVP back in 1978, but it never felt like he was the best or even one of the best players in the league. He really had only 4 strong years in the league, and even then he wasn't amongst the very best NBA centers. His career was obviously riddled with injuries. He missed 4 full seasons because of foot injuries, including his final season in the league, after which he retired. Winning 2 NBA championships obviously helps his case, but when you stack him against other centers on this list, it's clear as day that Bill Walton just doesn't belong in that group. 4 good years out of only 10 in total seems like a really small sample size to put him on the 75th anniversary team. It wasn't just his fault, obviously. You never want injuries to be part of any player's career, and his career was good. He's a champion, and he's done so much after his playing career as well. There will be a 100th anniversary team, 125th, and so on, and I doubt that NBA will ever remove any players who already have made the list in the future. That would be just cruel. But if they ever will remove a center from this list, it should be Bill Walton. Okay, let's switch our attention to forwards. Dennis Rodman. Defense gets overlooked all the time when building these all-time lists. It's not as flashy as a great dunk or nowadays a deep 3-point shot. Dennis Rodman had a fantastic career. Considering his size, he was an excellent rebounder, a top-notch defender. He led the NBA in rebounds for a record 7 consecutive years. He's also a 5-time champion, 2-time NBA All-Star, and 8-time NBA All-Defensive Player. The problem here is, he's a one-trick pony. He's a defensive monster who offers absolutely nothing on offense. Having a great defense is essential, but having absolutely no offense means you'll lose anyway. Especially now when offenses are hitting their all-time highs in points and effectiveness. And I don't want to be disrespectful here, but back when Rodman played the game was more oriented in the paint area. How he would defend against these youngsters who shoot on the perimeter? We will never know that. Rodman missed the 50th anniversary team, and he easily could have missed this one as well. As great as he was at his job, he never was the one who could have carried his team, because for that you also need to score. Dennis Rodman averaged 7.3 points for his career, and yes, points aren't everything, but if you don't have to guard him like at all outside the paint and even in paint, you're not really afraid of him making a shot, then that's a great advantage for any forward that goes against Dennis Rodman. Great career, one of the best defensive players of all time, absolutely deserves to be in the conversation for 75 greatest players of all time, but out of all the forwards that are on the list, he's my worst. And lastly, the guards. Michael Jordan. No, of course not, that's just a stupid joke. My worst guard out of all the guards featured on this list would be Bill Sherman, unfortunately. So how can I call a guy who's a 4-time NBA champion, 8-time NBA All-Star, was on all 3 NBA anniversary teams, 25th, 50th, and 75th, the worst guard? Well, because I'm rating this on player skill. I'm comparing him to other guards on this list, and in today's NBA, Bill wouldn't have a chance. There's no doubt he's been great for the game, not only as a player. Bill Sharman is a 1-time NBA champion and a 1-time ABA champion as a coach. He's a 5-time NBA champion as an executive. He's one of the NBA legends for a very good reason, but strictly game-wise, he was a guard who couldn't really shoot that good, converting on 42.6% of his field goals. He didn't pass too much, averaging just 3 assists per game as well. He was quite small at 6'1" and 175 pounds. He would struggle against any guard from that list. He wasn't a defender as well. And yes, the game was very different back in the 1950s, and that's why he would struggle. Imagine him defending Steph Curry or Damian Lillard for that matter. That would be just awful. He was great for his time, but when compared to all the guards on this list, he's my worst. Again, I just want to remind you that this is a list purely based on skill and effect on the game that is known to us now. If this was about accomplishments, obviously he's above Damian Lillard, Walt Frazier, and many other guards on this list. These lists will never satisfy everyone. There are so many good players now and the game evolves every year, but you also can't forget about those who build this. So I'm glad he's on the list. Everyone deserves to be on this list, even the 3 guys I mentioned. They're absolutely here because they deserve this. And on this and every future anniversary team, there will be a player who was left out and should have been there. It's just the nature of the list. But what do you think, guys? Who are your worst players on this list? And when I say worst, I don't mean bad players, just worst out of the best. Who should be on this list instead? Please leave your comment down below. Don't forget to also leave a like for the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Enable bell notifications to not miss upcoming videos. Thank you very much for watching. This is Purple Prince, and I'm out.